Hi everyone, it's Kelly and we are reading Magic Treehouse number 1 today. We're going to start with chapter 6. We did 1 through 5, so now we're on chapter 6. So the only thing you have to do is sit back and relax and listen to the story as I read it to you. Take a big deep breath in. Let it go. You can do that again if you want. Deep, big breath in. Nice balloon breath, and then let it go. Oof. One more. 3 is always the magic number. Biggest breath of all. And then let it go. All right. Now you're ready for chapter 6. Dinosaurs Before Dark. Chapter 6. Dinosaur Valley. Annie, look at this, Jack called. Look what I found. Annie had gone up to the hilltop. She was picking a flower from the magnolia tree. Annie, look, a medallion, shouted Jack. But Annie wasn't paying attention to Jack. She was staring at something on the other side of the hill. Oh, wow, she said. Clutching her magnolia flower, she took off down the hill. Annie, come back, Jack shouted. But Annie had disappeared. Oh, brother, Jack muttered. He stuffed the gold medallion into his jeans pocket. Then Jack heard Annie shriek. Ah! Annie, he said, Annie! Then Jack heard another sound as well, a deep bellowing sound like a tuba. Jack, come here quick, Annie called. Jack raced up the hill as fast as he could. When he got there, he gasped. Oh no, the valley below was filled with nests, big nests made out of mud. The nests were filled with tiny little dinosaurs. Annie was crouching next to one of the nests. Towering over her was a gigantic duck-billed dinosaur. Oh my goodness, a duck-bill. Duck-bill goes like this, so he's a big dinosaur with a duck-bill. Oh no, what would you have done if you'd seen a big towering duck-billed dinosaur? Don't panic. Don't move, said Jack. He stepped slowly down the hill to Annie. The huge dinosaur was waving her arms and making tuba sounds. Waving her arms, the big dinosaur, and making tuba sounds. Can you do that? It's a tough sound. Woo! I don't know. How about you? All right, here's the picture. So you can see Annie looking at all the nests. And there's the big dinosaur, the big duck-billed dinosaur. Jack stopped. He didn't want to get too close. He knelt on the ground. Okay, move towards me, he said slowly. Annie started to stand up. Don't stand, crawl, said Jack. Clutching her flower, Annie crawled toward Jack. Still bellowing, the duck-billed dinosaur followed her. Annie froze. Keep going, Jack said. Annie started crawling forward again. Jack inched further down the hill until he was just in arm's distance from Annie. He reached out and grabbed her hand. He pulled Annie towards him. Stay down, Jack said. He crouched next to her. Bow your head and pretend to chew. Chew? Said Annie. Yes, said Jack. I read that's what you should do if a mean dog comes at you. Just chew, said Jack. Jack and Annie both bowed their heads and pretended to chew. So they bent their heads down. I don't know if you guys can. Bend your head down and chew. Pretend to chew. Jack and Annie kept doing that, and soon the dinosaur grew really quiet. Jack looked up. I don't think she's mad anymore, he said. You saved me, said Annie. Thanks. You have to use your brain, Annie, said Jack. You can't just go running to a nest of babies. There's always a mother nearby. Annie stood up. Annie, don't, said Jack. Too late. Annie held out her magnolia flower to the dinosaur. I'm sorry I made you worry about your babies. The dinosaur moved closer to Annie. She grabbed the flower from her hand. She reached for another. No more, said Annie. The dinosaur let out a sad tuba sound. But there are more flowers up there, Annie said. She pointed to the top of the hill. I'll go get you some. Annie hurried up the hill. The dinosaur waddled after her. Waddle, waddle, waddle. Jack quickly looked at the dinosaur babies. Some were crawling out of their nests. Where are the other mothers? Jack wondered. Jack took out the dinosaur book. He flipped through some of the pages, and then he found a picture of some duck-billed dinosaurs. He read the caption. The Anatosauruses lived in colonies. While a few mothers babysat the nest, others looked for food. So there were probably more mothers close by looking for food. Hey, Jack, called Annie. Jack looked up. Annie was at the very tip-top of the hill, feeding magnolia flowers to the giant Anatosaurus. Guess what? Annie said. She's nice too. Suddenly, the Anatosaurus made her terrible tuba sound. Ooh. Annie crouched down and started to chew. The dinosaur charged down the hill. She seemed afraid of something. I wonder why she ran, Annie said. I really thought we were starting to be friends. Jack looked around. What he saw in the distance almost made him faint. An enormous monster was coming across the plains. Uh-oh. Oh, no. So there's the Anatosaurus running away. And Jack and Annie. Let's see what's coming across the way. The monster was walking on 2 strong legs. It was swinging a long, thick tail and dangling 2 tiny arms. It had a huge head and its jaws were wide open. Even from far away, Jack could see its long, gleaming teeth. Tyrannosaurus Rex, whispered Jack. Oh no. Chapter 7. Ready, set, go. Chapter 7. Run, Annie, cried Jack. Run! Run up to the treehouse. Jack and Annie dashed down the hill together. They ran through the tall grass and the ferns, past the pteranodon. They scrambled up the rope ladder, and they tumbled into the treehouse. Annie leaped to the window. It's going away, she said, panting. Jack pushed his glasses back into place. He looked out the window with Annie. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was wandering off, but then the monster stopped and turned around. Duck, said Jack. The 2 of them ducked their heads. After a long moment, they peeked out the window again. Coast clear, said Jack. Yay, whispered Annie. We have to get out of here, said Jack. You made a wish before, said Annie. Right, said Jack. He took a deep breath. I wish we could go back to Frog Creek. Nothing happened. I said, I wish... Wait, said Annie. You were looking at a picture in the dinosaur book, remember? Oh no, I left the book and my pack on the hill, said Jack. I have to go back. Forget it, said Annie. I can't, said Jack. The book doesn't belong to us. Plus my notebook with all my notes is in my pack, said Annie. Oh, okay, said Annie. I'll hurry, Jack said. He climbed quickly down the ladder and leaped to the ground. Jack raced past the pteranodon, through the ferns, through the tall grass, up the hill, and he looked down. His pack was lying on the ground. On top of it was the dinosaur book. But now, the valley was filled with Anatosauruses. They were all standing guard around their nest. Where had they been? Did fear of the T-Rex send them home? Jack took a deep breath. Ready, set, go, he thought. He charged down the hill. He ran to his backpack. He scooped it up. Then he grabbed the dinosaur book. Jack then heard a terrible tuba sound again. Oh, oh, oh. Then another. All the Anatosauruses were bellowing at him. Every single one. Jack took off. He raced up the hilltop and then started down the hill. Whew, he was almost back to the treehouse with Annie. Uh-oh. Who does that look like in the way? T-Rex? Jack stopped and froze. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was back, and it was standing between Jack and the treehouse. Whew, all right, we're just going to keep going. Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is called A Giant Shadow. A giant shadow. Jack jumped behind the magnolia tree. His heart was beating so fast he could hardly think. Bump, 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 bump. He peeked out at the giant monster. The horrible-looking creature was opening its big jaws. Its teeth were as big as steak knives. Don't panic, thought Jack. Breathe. Don't panic and think. He peered down at the valley. Good. The duck-billed dinosaurs were sticking close to their nests. Jack looked back at the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Good. The monster still didn't seem to know where he was. Don't panic. Think. Maybe there's information in the book. Jack opened the dinosaur book. He opened it up. And then he found Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he read, Tyrannosaurus Rex was one of the largest meat-eating animals of all time. If it were alive today, it could eat a human in one bite. Great, thought Jack. The book was no help at all. Jack tried to think clearly. He couldn't hide on the other side of the hill. The Antosauruses might stampede. He couldn't run to the tree house because the Tyrannosaurus Rex might run faster than him. Maybe he should just wait for the monster to leave. Do you think that's a good idea? Thumbs up if you do. Thumbs down if you don't. Would you wait for the T-Rex to leave? I think I might wait for the T-Rex to leave. Jack peeked around the tree. The Tyrannosaurus Rex. Ooh, that's a mouthful. The Tyrannosaurus Rex had wandered closer to the hill. Something caught Jack's eye. Annie was coming down the rope ladder. Oh no. Annie was coming down the rope ladder of the treehouse. Annie. Is she nuts? What is she doing? Jack wondered. Jack watched Annie hop off the ladder. Annie hurried over to the pteranodon. She was talking to him. She was flapping her arms. She pointed at Jack, and then she pointed at the sky above the treehouse. She is nuts, Jack thought. Go back in the tree, Jack whispered. Go. Jack heard a roar. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was looking right in his direction. Jack hit the ground. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was coming down the hill. Jack felt the ground shaking. Boom, boom. What should I do? Jack wondered. Should I run? Crawl back into Dinosaur Valley? Climb the magnolia tree? Suddenly, a big giant shadow covered Jack. He looked up. It was the pteranodon. The pteranodon was gliding over his head. The giant creature sailed toward the top of the hill. He was heading towards Jack. There's the pteranodon. All right, we have to find out what happens, right? We're going right on to Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is called The Amazing Ride. Might give us a clue. What do you think's going to happen? Maybe the cover of the book will tell us? The Amazing Ride. All right, let me hear your guesses. Okay, they sound good. Chapter 9, The Amazing Ride. The pteranodon coasted down to the ground. He stared at Jack with his bright, alert eyes. What was Jack supposed to do? Climb on? But I'm too heavy, thought Jack. Jack looked at the Tyrannosaurus. It was staring up at the hill. Its giant teeth were flashing in the sunlight. Okay, thought Jack. Don't think, just do it. Jack put his book in his pack, and then he climbed onto the pteranodon's back, and he held on tightly. The creature moved forward. He spread his wings and lifted off the ground. Can you spread your wings? Can you try to lift off the ground? I don't know. You'd have to flap pretty hard. Jack nearly fell off as they teetered this way and they teetered that way. They teetered to the right, they teetered to the left, and then Jack looked down. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was staring up at him. Oh my gosh, chomping the air. Hump, hump, hump. The pteranodon glided away. He sailed over the hilltop and over the valley. He circled over the duck-billed dinosaurs, the moms, and all the nests filled with the babies. Then the pteranodon soared out over the plain. Who were the triceratops? The ones with 3 horns. 1, 2, 3 horns. And then Jack felt like a bird. The wind was rushing through his hair. The air smelled sweet and fresh. Jack whooped and laughed. He was having so much fun. He couldn't believe it. He was riding on the back of an ancient flying reptile. The pteranodon sailed over the stream, over the ferns, and over the bushes. Then he carried Jack down to the base of the tree. Look at them having fun. Having fun, but that T-Rex trying to chomp him up in the air. But he got away. They sailed down to the base of the oak tree, and when they came to a stop, Jack slid off the creature's back and landed on the ground. The pteranodon took off again and glided back into the sky. "Bye, Henry," called Jack. "Jack, are you okay?" Annie shouted from the treehouse. "Jack," Annie called. Jack looked up at Annie, and he smiled, the biggest smile ever. "Thanks for saving my life," he said. "That was really fun." "Thank Henry, not me," said Annie. "Come on, climb up." Jack tried to stand, but his legs were a little wobbly. Oh my gosh, and he felt a bit dizzy. "Hurry," shouted Annie. "It's coming." Jack looked around. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was heading straight towards him. Jack bolted straight up the ladder and started climbing. "Hurry, hurry," cried Annie. Jack reached to the top and scrambled into the treehouse. "It's coming towards the tree," Annie cried. The dinosaur slammed himself against the oak tree. The treehouse shook like a leaf in the wind. Jack and Annie tumbled into the books. "Make a wish to go home," cried Annie. "We need the book, the Pennsylvania book," said Jack. "Where is it? Where is it, Annie?" They both searched madly around the treehouse. "Found it," Jack said. He grabbed the book and flipped through the pages. He found the photograph of the Frog Creek woods. Jack pointed to the picture in the book, and he said, "I wish we could go home." The wind began to blow, just like behind me. See that wind blowing? Oh no, the wind began to blow. Whoops, hold on. Whew, that blew too much. Jack closed his eyes. He held on tight. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Whew, that was a chapter. All right, now we're on to chapter 10. All right, here we are. Chapter 10 of The Magic Treehouse, Dinosaurs Before Dark. Chapter 10. Chapter 10 is called Home Before Dark. All right. I hope this means they're getting home. Oy. All right. Jack heard a bird singing. He opened his eyes. Can you hear that bird singing here? Oh my gosh. He was still pointing at the picture of the Frog Creek woods in the book. He peeked out the treehouse window. Outside, he saw the exact same view as the picture in the book. "We're home," whispered Annie. The woods were lit with golden late afternoon light. The sun was about to set. No time had passed since they'd left Frog Creek. "Jack, Annie," a voice called from the distance. "That's Mom," said Annie. Jack saw their mother really far away out the treehouse window. She was standing right in front of the house. She looked so tiny. "Annie, Jack," she called. So they're up in the treehouse, and there's their house and their mom, way in the distance. I bet they're glad to be home. You guys think they're glad to be home? Thumbs up. If they're not glad to be home, thumbs down. I say thumbs up. I think they're glad to be home. To get away from all those dinosaurs? Yeah. Annie stuck her head out the window and shouted, "Coming!" Jack still felt dazed. He just stared at Annie. "What happened to us?" he said. "We took a trip in a magic treehouse," said Annie simply. "But it's the same time as when we left," said Jack. Annie shrugged. "How did it take us so far away?" asked Jack. "And so long ago?" "You looked at a picture in a book and said you wish we could go there," said Annie. "And the magic treehouse took us there." "But how?" said Jack. "And who built this magic treehouse? Who put all these books here?" "A magic person, I guess," said Annie. "Oh, look," said Jack. "I almost forgot about this." Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out a gold medallion. "Someone lost this back there," he said, "in Dinosaur Land. Look, there's a letter M on it." Annie's eyes got round. "You think M stands for magic person?" she asked. "I don't know," said Jack. "I just know someone went to that place before us." "Jack, Annie," their mom called again. "Coming," Annie shouted. Jack put the gold medallion back in his pocket. He pulled the dinosaur book out of his pack and put it back with all the other books. Then he and Annie took one last look around the treehouse. "Goodbye, house," whispered Annie. Jack slung his backpack over his shoulder. Annie started down the rope ladder. Jack followed. Seconds later, they hopped onto the ground and started walking out of the woods. "No one's going to believe our story," said Jack. "So let's not tell anyone," said Annie. "Dad won't believe it," said Jack. He'll say it was a dream," said Annie. "Mom won't believe it," said Jack. "She'll say it was pretend," said Annie. "Well, we better not tell anyone," said Jack. "I already said that," said Annie. Jack sighed. "I think I'm starting to not believe it myself," he said. They left the woods and started up the road toward the house. As they walked past all the houses on their street, the trip to Dinosaur Time did seem more and more like a dream. Only this world and this time seemed real. Jack reached into his pocket and he clasped the gold medallion. He felt the engraving of the letter M. It made his fingers tingle. Jack laughed. Suddenly, he felt very happy. He couldn't explain what had happened today, but he knew for sure that their trip in the magic treehouse had been real. Absolutely real. "Tomorrow," Jack said softly, "we'll go back to the woods." "Of course," said Annie. "And we'll climb up to the treehouse," said Jack. "Of course," said Annie. "And we'll see what happens next," said Jack. "Of course," said Annie. "Race you home." And they took off together, running for home. Jack and Annie running. All right, let's see. Do you think that's the end? I think it may be the end. All right, the end. So that's the very first book in the Magic Treehouse series, Dinosaurs Before Dark. So, what do you think? I want to ask you a question. Would you tell your mom and dad about that? Would you? Or maybe not? I don't know. I think I might tell my mom and dad, but who knows? You can make your own choices and hopefully they're good, and you can change your mind the next day as long as you're doing the right thing for yourself and being safe, and the right thing for your family, keeping everybody safe. And honesty is the best policy. But let's see what happens with Jack and Annie when we read the next book. Thank you for coming, and I'm so glad you were here. Hit like if you want, hit subscribe if you want, and I'll see you for the next Jack and Annie adventure. All right, take care.